The Yarra Birrarung flows 242 kilometres from the Yarra Ranges to the Port Phillip Bay, an essential artery for biodiversity, culture and community. In the last 4 years, the Yarra Riverkeeper Association has investigated a persistent and pervasive threat: expanded polystyrene, or EPS for short. EPS consumer items are now banned, and pollution from the retail industry is dropping. EPS in the construction industry, however, has no such controls and relies on enforcement and voluntary participation in initiatives to reduce pollution. EPS is a common building material in Australia, light, rigid, and highly insulating. It is widely used in the form of waffle pods and foam cladding to build our homes. Yet these are the very qualities that make it one of the most problematic pollutants in our waterways. EPS can have a range of additives that go beyond just physical choking hazards for marine life. Recent audits conducted across 80 construction sites in Melbourne revealed a confronting reality. 71% of the sites visited showed signs of polystyrene pollution. Of those, 98% had EPS either directly on site, on surrounding nature strips, or washed into nearby drains. EPS is brittle. Once exposed to weather or mechanical force, it easily fragments into thousands of pieces, many of which find their way into the Yarra River. Over time, these pieces become microplastics, almost impossible to collect, but still capable of causing significant environmental harm. In Melbourne alone, EPS has been found to be the most commonly littered macroplastic in the Yarra Birrarung. It is estimated that over 92 million pieces of polystyrene are captured each year by the river's litter traps. When combined with material that escapes into the Port Phillip Bay, that figure rises to an estimated 382 million pieces annually. A key source of this pollution is found in the construction sector, such as building concrete slabs with waffle pods, large, hollow EPS blocks that reduce the volume of concrete needed. These pods are often over-ordered, cut on site, or damaged, generating offcuts and fragments that are frequently left exposed to the wind and rain. Just as concerning is the use of EPS cladding, which has become increasingly common in residential developments. Blocks of cladding foam are routinely cut in open air, with particles visibly escaping under fences, littering the streets and entering stormwater drains. At several sites, cladding was left in piles, broken down into small pieces and mixed with other construction waste. While some builders using EPS are doing the right thing, there are still many sites that are poorly managed. Once EPS enters a waterway, it is very difficult to recover and infeasible to recycle. It floats, it breaks apart, and it lingers for hundreds of years. Wildlife in and around the Yarra Birrarung and in the bay are all at risk of ingesting or being impacted by this plastic. The industry says their EPS is fully recyclable, offer collections from sites after use, and have a Styrocycle scheme with a few bins around Melbourne. However, no data on the volume being returned has been made available. These programs are voluntary, and a percentage of builders dump excess material on vacant lots, particularly in newer residential estates where anonymity is high. Although EPS is recyclable if very clean, in practice it often becomes small chunks or is dirtied by mud, paint or bacteria and contaminates industry recycling machines. In searching for other places to recycle EPS, we dropped into the City of Yarra Waste Depot to see what polystyrene looks like once clumped into a dense, recyclable material.
In Victoria, there's only a small number of councils who have a poly machine, processing machine, in which we do, and most councils actually send their poly to landfill, which is a really bad outcome when there's really good outcomes available.
So who is on the ground to help reduce pollution? Currently, our only form of deterrence are local government compliance officers, 2 of which were interviewed about this problem. Council litter enforcement teams average around 2 officers, which they say are not enough to be proactive in the reduction of EPS pollution through fines. But there is more going on. Fines are not high, averaging $400 for untidy bins or litter on site, which can be absorbed into cost of builds, and are not acting as deterrents or encouraging better site management. The City of Wyndham made over $1 million in construction fines last year, and the City of Casey made 566 infringements. Yet the pollution continues. Builders have a high rate of turnover with their contractors, the officers said, and that makes educating them and holding them accountable difficult. Site foremans are now spread thinner than ever, with one site foreman often managing over 50 builds. Councils also have different local laws and ways of operating, which means builders and contractors can be confused about the specifics on site. But what remains constant between local government areas is inadequate site bins, the frequent pollution of EPS, and a dumping culture to save costs on disposal of waste. A Wyndham compliance officer said the number one priority is working with the subcontractors or moving to alternatives of EPS, which do exist and are readily available in the Melbourne market. It is important to note that EPS is not the only choice available to builders. In place of EPS blocks to fill concrete slabs, builders can turn to materials like recycled plastic void formers, aerated concrete, or compacted recycled materials. For external wall cladding, natural and durable options such as fibre cement, timber, hempcrete, or recycled bricks offer greater environmental resilience without contributing to microplastic pollution. As the construction industry evolves, these choices offer a path forward that aligns durability with ecological responsibility. We have two choices moving forwards. Either we prohibit EPS in favour of alternatives, or we increase our response to pollution reduction enforcement, an effort that will require specialised bins for EPS use, increased presence of council officers, and action from site managers. Either approach will have its challenges, but we simply cannot continue to pour millions of pieces of EPS into our rivers and bay.